good way. I was literally gasping for air. I was dizzy. My fingertips were numb. Every breath was not enough. Every step forward was a task in and of itself. In this episode of the Desert Dogs, we've come to tackle Telescope Peak. It's the highest mountain in the Panamint Mountain Range in Death Valley National Monument. The summit is 11,039 feet high.
I'm standing right next to a pinyon pine. And what's cool about these pines is that they produce these little cones that, in between the cones, they actually produce these little seeds. And what the seeds are is that back in the day, the Shoshone Indians actually was a staple food for them. So they would roast these, and it would be part of their protein diet. And then when the Europeans arrived, they caught on, and then they started harvesting in large quantities. And today we know them as pine nuts, which is pretty common in most supermarkets.
I questioned the wisdom of undertaking such a feat, but I passed the point of no return the moment I decided to make the trip. The hike started out tough. In fact, we lost a dog. We had gone maybe 200 yards.
It's alright. So we're all in this together. Alright then. I'll see you when we get back. Alright. We've gone about a little bit less than a mile and we already lost one of the dogs. This doesn't felt the elevation and must have had an asthma attack or something. So it's just the three of us. Me, Marty, and Danny.
Dustin's demise was frustrating and demoralizing, but still we pressed on.
Alright, so over here in the Panamint Range, on our way to Telescope Peak, as you can see right there, there it is, Telescope Peak. Already, I don't know what elevation we're at, but I assume that we're around 9,000, maybe 9,500 feet. And already you can see Death Valley, great. It's just right there, Death Valley, bam. I don't know how much longer we got to go till we get up there, but we're gonna keep on trucking and everything. We're gonna make sure we handle this mountain. We're gonna own this mountain, seriously. Alright, I'm starting to feel the pressure kind of build up in my body. Back at 8,000 feet where we camped, I used to be able to fit my fingers around my wrist. Now I can't even touch my fingers. My blood vessels in my arms are expanding because of the pressure, because of the high elevation.
After about a mile of hiking uphill, the trail leveled off, and we marveled at the bristlecone pine. Maybe not in this particular range, but the oldest bristlecones are 4,000 years old.
I'm standing next to the famous bristlecone pine, one of the oldest organisms in the world. Apparently some of these individuals live up to 4,000 years. And the range is actually out in the White Mountains, which is out in Sierra, which is west of the Panamint Range. And we're really lucky here because obviously most of them are found in the White Mountain Range. And here we're seeing a few individuals, and obviously you would find these over 10,000 feet, and we're lucky to see one here. Some individuals of bristlecone pines live up to 4,000 years. So if you think about it, some of these trees have been here before Jesus Christ was born.
If he existed.
Even the brittle slate, rocks that sounded like broken bottles being crushed underfoot, were interesting. They were formed hundreds of millions of years ago, when this was all at sea level, and probably a muddy swamp.
So what we have here is the longhorn grasshopper, family name Acrididae. It's really special to see one here because we're pretty high elevation. We're like around and 9,500 to 10,000 feet up high in elevation. And the reason we're lucky was because it's really hard to find bugs this high in elevation, because obviously it's harder to survive around here. So most likely this grasshopper is feeding on whatever's around here. Was most of the plants I see around here is sage and probably some other trees that are around here. And what's really cool is this pattern that it evolved where you can see that the colors are really close to the same color as the slate. And it's really interesting because, like I said, up here in elevation, obviously it's been here for that long for it to evolve that color. Same color as the slate.
Hey Andrew, check out this knife.
You call that a knife? Now that's a knife.
Climbing mountains forces one to dig deep within oneself to find that little something extra that prevents one from giving up. The last mile especially was utterly horrible.
Alright, well here we are at one of our breaks. We're getting very close. We're on a bunch of switchbacks right now. And getting pretty tired. We actually got passed up by some old folks.
While old people passed me up easily, I was gasping for breath, practically crawling on the ground. It seemed as if every person that could possibly belittle my manhood passed me up. Women, hippies, Czechoslovakians. I might have even seen a toddler pass me by in the fogginess that passed for consciousness. In this thin air, the mountaintop seemed so close, but it proved to be further than I thought. Or was I just going really, really slow? Sure enough, with an iron will and empty lungs, I reached the summit. A few people who passed me up congratulated me. I think I heard some people snickering in the back. But that was all shut out when I saw the view. At the top, if I faced north, Death Valley, the lowest point of the United States, would be on my right. And far to my left, Mount Whitney, the tallest mountain in the contiguous United States, could be seen. The highest and the lowest, all from one vantage point. It was up here at the top that I met Zach Tipton.
Yeah, going hiking every summer. Some winter hiking. Living up here in the Telescope Peak. First time to Telescope Peak, actually. Good hike. It was a pretty mild trail, actually, except for this last little set of switchbacks. Has a good little challenge. But awesome, the ecosystems, the way things change from where you start and where you end up is really nice.
Finally made it up to Telescope Peak. Took us, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. I'm smoking my victory cigar. And it's a wonderful feeling.
When I got back down to the bottom, Dustin and I agreed. No more mountain climbing for a while, but I'll eventually come back to these higher elevations. After all, what's a Desert Dog episode without a little bit of pain and humiliation? I'll tell you what it is. It's the difference between a camping trip and an expedition.
It's Andrew Perry. Let's keep it reasonable, guys.
The hell is a knife?